When I was young, I knew I wasn't like the other boys. No, I liked real comedy. On the topic of comedy, for the sake of this video, I'll be using the words comedy and humor interchangeably. There's nuance to be had between the two, but nuance is hard, so I will be ignoring it. Lately, I've been thinking about what my favorite joke would be. I've come up with sort of an idea of what my favorite jokes are. Almost all of them are, by most, maybe all standards, pretty bad, but bad jokes are still jokes. But that begs the question, at what point is something no longer a joke? What makes something a joke? And what does comedy mean? I do have a limited scope though, so I'm gonna have to be a little more specific. What does comedy mean to the people around me? Around me in a literal sense, like in my geographical area, my fellow peers. Comedy and humor mean different things to every person. It is subjective after all, so to really delve into this topic, I'm gonna need some interview. I'm gonna need some words from a real person, other than me, even though I am the expert. I'm sorry, am I allowed to lie here? I'm the expert. We're gonna need some first-hand accounts. I'm gonna pass you to the second funniest guy I know. Okay, that's enough of that. Actual interviews this time. Real interviews. Cut the S. Non-plural. Real interview. One, just one. Of course, supplemented by real, outstanding live footage on scene. I'll catch you there. So, what does comedy mean to you?
Comedy means to me is a form of entertainment and also expression, typically to like.
Okay. Have you ever thought about what your favorite joke is, or what it might be?
I would say my favorite joke. Well, is that question more like a favorite type of joke or favorite?
I have a follow-up. Like, if you have thought about it, what type of humor would you say that joke would fall under?
Situational comedy is probably my favorite then.
What would you say makes something a joke?
I think something that makes something a joke is when people laugh. Not everyone has to laugh, but I think when most of the room laughs, it is a good joke. A joke.
I'm not talking about good or bad jokes. Just like broadly, what do you think makes something a joke? Like, what makes something able to be categorized as a joke?
I think just in general, then, something that's a joke is something that people laugh at or smile, and if it doesn't, make people laugh or smile, then it's
Okay, so you're saying you think the output is more important than the intent?
yes. Because if people don't laugh, then is it really a joke? Because if people don't laugh, then it can be like, let's say someone's saying something and it just comes off as mean or cruel or offensive or anything like that, then it's not really a joke, not good.
Okay, no, I see where you're coming from. Wonderful insight by my employee. Can I? Is Do I have to pay someone for them to be considered my employee? Is that legally binding? My volunteer. Wonderful insight by my volunteer. That was a very unique perspective. I actually was not expecting that answer. Personally, I've been thinking about this question for a while, uh, only to end up going in circles. But at the end of the day, comedy is a subversion of expectations, so ironically, I should have seen that coming. Comedy has had a very large role in how I live my life, as you may have guessed from what this video is about. I wouldn't be doing this video if I hated jokes and I never wanted anything to be funny, which, honestly, I might give off that impression based on what you've seen in this video. I apologize. No, I don't. No, I'm not sorry. You're watching it. I'm sure the personal definitions of comedy changes from place to place. There's bound to be some, cultural difference or regional difference. Those are the same thing, aren't they? But I actually was not able to get any other interviews. I think I chose a bad time to start doing my interviews, and by the time I actually could have maybe gotten more interviews, I was already I had already recorded the other sections and I was editing, so that didn't really work out. To me, comedy is sort of this idea, this desire for something to be funny, right? Like, a joke can be whatever, as long as the intention is not at all malicious and it's designed to bring joy. It's designed to make someone laugh or make someone happy. I believe that is what makes something a joke. I don't think a joke requires someone to laugh. I think a joke just requires you to want someone to laugh at what you're saying. Now, that is based upon the assumption that you are not saying anything maliciously, right? If you're trying to verbally attack someone while posing it as humor, I don't think that's a joke. I think that is something separate entirely. That's just, a personal attack. But from what I've seen, I think most people believe that comedy is, at least most people that I've been around in my region, as a college student at Texas Tech, and I believe most people think of comedy as just something that brings joy. What I thought, at least, was that most people valued the intent of a joke over the actual result of it, Because a lot of people make a lot of jokes, and not always does someone laugh. And I always laugh at my jokes, so I don't have that problem. But I don't think that necessarily disqualifies something from being a joke. And perhaps AJ would agree, but, he's no longer with us. Yeah, he's driving. So I actually can't confirm or deny that. So I'm just going to say he strongly opposes my views, and he hates me, perhaps? Maybe he has strong views against something that would reflect poorly on him. I don't know. Can't ask him. But that's my personal view on what comedy is and what comedy means to me. I really do think this has ended up being, sort of two sides of the argument. And I hope, as far as what I believe and what AJ believes, that's his name, by the way. I've been calling him my volunteer, but I think I kind of roped him into it. I don't know if he really volunteered. But anyways, as far as his stance and my stance, if I did a good job, you should be seeing clear. Or yellow. Or blue? It depends on what you drank. Red. Ugh. I personally believe that comedy is more of an ideal than a category. It's so subjective that nothing really can be ruled out. Even serious topics can be considered comedy in some sense to some people. Despite that, paradoxically, it must have a definition. You can't have a word without a definition, of course, and oftentimes it ends up being the generally accepted, broader meaning of a term, but I think it's important to sometimes go a little deeper than that surface level generalization. So, I ask you, what do you think comedy means? Thank you so much for watching. In spite of the video, thank you especially to my professor, who has no choice but to watch this. And I'm kind of sorry because I lost the plot a little bit. I lost the plot a lot, actually, and I ended up just doing whatever I wanted. Not only that, but I also ran out of time. This was my first video. I learned a lot doing it, and it's only downhill from here, so stay tuned. So what was your name again?
My name's AJ Sloan.
Okay, yeah, I didn't need that for the interview. I just forgot.
Motherfucker.